As run by Fun Publications, each year at BotCon, an exclusive set of toys was released that revolved around a theme, accompanied by an exclusive comic book telling the character's story. And in 2008, the theme was that of a mirror universe of evil Autobots and heroic Decepticons. The mirror universe concept is a real old chestnut in science fiction, to the point that it's pretty amazing Transformers had never actually done it before. The idea goes back to the famous 1967 Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror, an episode to which the very title Shattered Glass pays homage, with Shattered Glass Rodimus taking the loving nod even further by emulating the famous goatee worn by the mirror universe version of Mr. Spock. Then is talked about as
Hey guys, Total Control 871. Welcome back to the Cesium channel. I have just been sitting here trying to get my thoughts together on this whole thing. Shattered Glass. As our narrator so eloquently put, there is absolutely no shortage of evil doublegangers in sci-fi storytelling. It's literally just littered all throughout. You'd be very hard-pressed to find a science fiction franchise that didn't either do an episode or at least do a nod. Bionic Woman did it. Just countless. Justice League did it with the Justice Lords, and on and on and on. Shattered Glass. Shattered Glass. Don't ask me why, but for some strange reason, of all the many different evil doubleganger franchises that I could have gone with for storytelling today, it's just something about the Shattered Glass storyline that just embodies what's going on with the Democrats so much. Probably, I guess now that I am thinking about it, I've often seen Democrats and Republicans as Autobots and Decepticons. So yeah, there you go. I guess maybe that is why I find the storyline so haunting right now. Excuse me. Probably should have gotten the halls. In case you didn't know, the Shattered Glass cliff jumper falls into a mirror universe where the Autobots are more than just evil. They're quite sadistic, and the Decepticons are the ones who are the heroes. That's how I feel with this whole fake pandemic. It just feels like I've fallen through some sort of a parallel dimension where these Autobots, these Autobot Democrats have this diabolical agenda in motion, and it leaves me to wonder, for what? What is going on? Let's take a closer look. I think I have stumbled upon something. I was pretty, to be honest, I was very blown away to hear this liberal corporate media journalists admit this. I would have thought that NBC would have not allowed this to be said, or at least at this stage in the scam and the hoax. Let's just give a listen.
Rosy predictions by President Trump and his economic advisors about the economy's return to pre-coronavirus levels are probably wrong. Get people back to their jobs, get businesses up and running so we can slowly work ourselves out of a recession. I fully agree with their aspirations, but that's what they are. aspirations. What I prefer to deal in are facts. Life as we knew it is unlikely to come back soon for tens of millions of Americans, and frankly, we should be aiming substantially higher than for a return to normal. Because normal, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, was pretty bad for millions of Americans. Nearly 40 million who lived in poverty and were food insecure before coronavirus. Tens of millions more were uninsured and underemployed. This pandemic presented us with an opportunity to make the big changes to our economic and governing systems that we have resisted because they're hard or they're expensive to make. With time, we are witnessing the broader impact of the damage caused by the pandemic, and as we move to recovery, which is likely to take much longer than what the Treasury Secretary or anyone from the Trump administration says, now is the time to actually begin to make changes to our society and our economy, changes that will allow everyone the dignity of living with a wage that they can survive on, of health care, of education, and a safety net for when things don't work out. That is what the new normal can look like. History will say we did okay during the emergency. We pulled together, we overcame partisanship for a minute, and found money we believed didn't exist for people we finally acknowledge do exist, the people who keep our economy going. Notwithstanding Donald Trump's particular leadership failures, our government works okay during a crisis, but ultimately what was wrong with America isn't something that will be fixed through emergency loans and stimulus checks, or for that matter, striving to return to what was normal. The pandemic exposed a wound that has been festering beneath the surface of our economy for years. Our system is fundamentally unequal. It favors corporations over people, rich people over poor people, and it places the bottom line above the livelihoods of our citizens. That was never great, and we shouldn't want to do it again. So how about we don't work so hard to get back to normal? Let's work to make the critical changes that we need to help build a better and more just society and a more equitable future for all Americans. Hey, are probably wrong.
Well, there you have it. Right out there in the open. Had to go get some halls. That is Ali Velshi, and he is right there out in the open, basically saying exactly what the whole, what the plot is to the entire fake pandemic. It's a massive subterfuge for ushering in a whole new economy. I mean, when you look at all the glaring plot holes, I mean, the hoax, it's so massive because it is global. It's so massive that it hinges greatly on malleable minds that are quite easily hacked. A lot of young people's minds. I've even given some thought that maybe it wasn't an accident that our corporate media gave so much attention to Donald Trump in his campaign for presidency in 2016, 15, 16. It got him elected. Didn't have to spend a whole lot of his own money. All he had to do was say sensational shit. And there, of course, was our liberal corporate media to just simply play it endlessly. And once the buffoon has been elected to office, they can just simply run riot. See, there's so much of this that I haven't been able to figure out, and I really don't know. I understand what Ali is talking about. I've been the victim of economic inequality, very much indeed. The baby is being thrown out with the bathwater, though. Yes, there was a lot that was wrong with America, but there was also a lot that was right. Right now, I'm just really racking my brain to see where is this whole thing going. The agenda. Where is it all going? I can already see some precursors. I believe it was announced today that Reddit is now joining the Silicon Valley echo chamber. It is ousting Reddit users who basically don't, they're calling it hate speech, but I get called hate speech. And all I'm doing is simply pointing out the truth. I don't call people names. I don't use slurs. Quite often, a lot of what I have to say is their own words, just simply redirected right back at them. But of course, this is being called hate speech. When I go on Facebook and say that women should be forcibly held down and forced to have their babies, many would say that is absolutely draconian hate speech, violence. You might call that violence. Okay, well, why don't you go and speak to people who have been arrested and thrown in a jail for not comporting to your social distancing and for opening up their business? Do you understand the act of violence that comes along with being arrested and booked into a jail? The sexual assault, the strip search. Suddenly, things begin to seem a lot more equal. To have that violence visited upon you. But for me to say that women should be held down, strapped to a bed, and forced to have their babies, well, that's just simply deemed as unacceptable. Hey, I've also added to that message men who want to force medical decisions on other people. Well, then maybe they should be forced to have a vasectomy. What if we all just simply went around forcing medical decisions, medical opinions onto each other? Okay? Who remembers the movie Don't Breathe? A B film. I think filmed in Detroit. Duplex. Man, he's blind. Supposedly has a bunch of money. Looters break in looking for it. Anyway, the whole thing ends with, turns out a drunk driver killed his daughter and he abducts her and has impregnated her with a turkey baster. I guess he draws a distinction between physically raping her and raping her with a turkey baster and his semen. You'd have to see the movie if you'd be so inclined, but should that happen to women? If somebody out there, if I'm not mistaken, there's reports saying that birthing is down, birth rates are down. Well, then maybe somebody would take it upon their notion that, well, maybe some of these women who are so career oriented, maybe they should be held down and impregnated. It's a medical opinion, and it's being forced on you. Oh, that's just silly. A mask versus rape? Well, if you don't wear the mask, and if you open your business, and if you don't social distance, what ends up happening to you when they arrest you and put you in a jail? Okay. Yeah. So it's not quite as disproportionate as you would first think. I really am racking my head trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I have no idea what's going on with these Democrats, these shattered glass Democrats. And yeah, just like Cliffjumper, he ended up having to join forces with the Decepticons. To try and defeat them. And I guess that's what I'm doing. I'm making my temporary alliance with Republicans. Yes, Echo Chamber. Some of you guys might not be necessarily thinking that it's a big deal because you're all in unity right now. Everybody's locking arms and it's all wonderful. It's that is the way it always starts out. You know, I let me see. We're gonna see if I can find this real quick. I should have planned for it. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm looking for... Yeah, this is... I think that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Bloody hell, come on. Return of Black Adam ending. See if we can get this. I am sorry. Like I said, I really should have done this. This might be it.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help.
Shut up. Let's get bad.
How did you stop the flood? Cold breath. Another power you don't have.
Skip along. There's a part that I
Shazam!
no.
A bit of everything. So I was thinking this time the wizard could send you so far across the...
This will have what I'm looking for.
I'll take it from here, Captain.
Todd. I being like...
It only changes that I...
It changes you. Easy there. You've got him.
God damn it.
Easy there. You've got him. It changes you, does it not? The power.
It only changes that I can choose my own fate now.
Like a god, maybe. That's enough.
No, I have to protect them.
How? By being like him?
By being stronger than him.
Then be strong. Be good.
Captain Marvel, who, yes, I'm sorry, I refuse to refer to him as Shazam. Shazam is the wizard's name. Captain Marvel was ready to kill Black Adam. in the name of good, for all of the horror and atrocities that Black Adam had committed. And Black Adam, he says something very poignant, because Black Adam, once upon a time, was entrusted with the power of the wizard to do what was good and just. And once upon a time, it all started off oh so good, with such good intentions. If I'm not mistaken, Sinestro is another villain that started out good, entrusted with power to do the right thing. But like we heard Black Adam say, it changes you, doesn't it? Once you have the power at your fingertips, at what you can do with it, it slowly begins to transmute you. You know, a few years ago, I speculated over how many police officers would be able to truly say, under the spell of Wonder Woman's golden lasso, that they want to be a police officer for virtuous reasons. I speculated, I said, could they say they wanted to do it to actually be of public service? To be of public service and to actually help people? Or would they say because of the power that comes along with being a police officer? And of course, things have changed so much now than when I first postulated that scenario about 3 or 4 years ago, because things are definitely changed now, but or changing, to be more specific. We've got a ways to go. But so many police officers could commit so many crimes and just simply walk away, not held accountable. I mean, good Lord, Elijah McClain, buried in the grave. If it hadn't been for George Floyd, his death would be completely unavenged. It's still unavenged. Justice still hasn't been served. There was something very unnerving about Elijah McClain's murder, lethal injection murder. Very unnerving. Breonna Taylor, too. Good Lord. Just blown away in your sleep. Breonna Taylor didn't even get to see the face of her killers. Okay? She was just simply savagely murdered there in her sleep. The power changes you. It corrupts you. I said that, would a police officer be able to say why they wanted to become a police officer? Would they say virtuous things under the spell of Wonder Woman's golden lasso? But actually, as I give it more thought today, I see that the question probably would not have been posed correctly. There probably are a great many police officers who would be able to say, police officers like Derek Chauvin, who might be able to say that, yes, I became, were he to be bound with Wonder Woman's golden lasso and asked, why did you become a police officer? Because the question is being asked of you of the past tense, not the present. You start off with so many good intentions, and little by little, things happen, like Black Adam tells us, and the power changes you. Is this what's happening with our Democrats? With our shattered glass Democrats? They suddenly have access to so much power. A fake pandemic and a real crisis of racial injustice. They don't know where to go first. It's like a child on Christmas Day and a mountain of presents all the way up to the ceiling. They don't know what to do first. They start off with such good intentions, but then it all just simply goes to shit. Jim Jones also could have said noble and virtuous things under Wonder Woman's golden lasso in the beginning. Where are our shattered glass Democrats taking us? Where is it all going? Ali Vashi spoke of lifting mankind out of poverty. Well, I definitely know a few things about that. But do we have to surrender our rights to choose to get there? And I'm still struggling over what is their fixation with a face mask. I've already covered this a number of times. If your head is mummified, and we're at average, even before social distancing, I would have to be worked up. Let's see, do I have time to find it? Probably don't. And then if I did find it, I wouldn't be able to find it. But anyway, I'd have to be worked up into a froth, so to speak, both literal and figurative, for spit to start flying out of my mouth in a trajectory that's going to really go beyond arm's reach, If I'm not mistaken, law enforcement, that's a thing of there. Law enforcement and security, give me arm's distance at all time, stand back, arm's distance. You shouldn't be up in my face like you're about to fucking make out with me, okay? If you give everybody respectable distance, then you don't have to worry about them not having a mask on. If your head is mummified and you're giving people decent distance and they don't have a face mask on, trust me, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You won't have to, there is no need. In other words, there's more than enough science, if that's what you want to call it, for everybody's choice to be respected. For my both choice and inability to wear a face mask strapped to my face. And if you feel the need to wear one for whatever your particular medical conditions are, well then fine. Both of our choices should be well respected. Were we to be on the bus together, trust me, I'm not going to be screaming at you. I'm not going to be all up in your face. Okay? So, I don't know where our shattered glass Democrats are trying to take everybody. What is the purpose? Where is it all going? Where is it all going? Come on, I'm trying to get rid of this stuff. Oh, well. Alright, guys. That's pretty much it. Look at me. I'm trying to cut off the art doohickey thing here, and for whatever reason it won't. Up there it goes. It is strange. But like Black Adam says, the power corrupts you. Total Control 871.